Hey everybody, it's Mike and Denise. I am a lifestyle nutritionist with Forever Young Nutrition Coaching, and we're out here getting our vigorous daily exercise, kind of, out in the rain. Doesn't matter if it's raining, right? Go outside if you can, get your vitamin D also, so you don't have to take any supplements. Only supplement you should take is vitamin B12, right? And we got an article for you today. Denise is gonna read it to us. We're gonna review and comment on the plant-based news for you and give you some insight, hopefully.
The title of the article is Processed Meat Linked to Higher Risk of Colorectal Cancer in Men, New Study Finds.
Oh, this applies to me.
A new study from Tufts University and Harvard University finds that the strongest association between colorectal cancer and ultra-processed foods comes from meat.
Okay. Ultra-processed.
Yeah.
Are they talking about regular meat? Or are they talking about
Ultra-processed means things like sausage, hot dogs, and bacon.
Okay.
The high consumption of ultra-processed foods comes with an increased risk of colorectal cancer in men, according to new research from Tufts University and Harvard University. Notably, the research found the strongest association between colorectal cancer and ultra-processed foods among men came from meat, poultry, and fish products.
So animal muscle, okay?
Yeah.
Any kind of animal muscle, not just red meat. We've read articles recently where they just talked about red meat. They're not isolating that in this case. Just note that.
In the study published in peer-reviewed medical journal, the BMJ, researchers found that men who consumed high rates of ultra-processed foods were at 29% higher risk for developing colorectal cancer, the third most diagnosed cancer in the United States. The men who consumed much smaller amounts did not.
All right, so the higher amounts are 30% almost? 29%, what you said?
They're at 29% higher risk for developing colorectal
Okay,
cancer.
all right, now let's go back on that, because if you know me, if you've watched some of our videos, I stopped eating red meat in the year 2000, 22 years ago. Because when I did my research on the internet, I found that red meat was the worst, but I didn't consider this aspect. As a guy, I thought, well, fish is all right? It's good for you. So is white chicken breasts. But this study doesn't seem to make any difference between that and colorectal cancer. So you got to get rid of all that animal muscle, all of it.
When I was in high school and I saw the caloric food charts, it didn't even have like bacon sausage on there. I looked at things like steak and ground meat, and I thought that's really calorically dense, so similar to nuts. So I just avoided it altogether, and I thought it was gross.
Okay, so this article, to go back, I want to make sure I'm clarifying. It's talking about processed meats or any animal muscle at all.
Well, they found that the highest risk were those that ate a lot of processed meats.
But they talked about all. They're talking about all meat. Well, we'll find out as you read. Go ahead. So.
Yeah. They did not find the same association in women.
For colorectal cancer.
Yeah.
Okay, so colorectal cancer. Wait, let me. Actually, yeah. This should be men and women. This is not prostate. What about? I was thinking about prostate earlier.
But you'll find that the women in the study did get colorectal cancer, just not more than the other group who was also on a bad diet. So it was.
They didn't find an increase?
No,
is that what it was?
But maybe it was because the men were also eating red meat, which was fermenting in their gut a lot less than women were eating it.
So they had already, yeah, I would say that in general, I think, let me know in the comments out there, men don't take care of themselves as well as women. Am I right? I mean, I'm embarrassed for my gender because men don't seem to care. And it's supposedly it's anti-male. It's not masculine if you're not, I don't know, smoking cigarettes and eating red meat, it seems like. I don't understand it. Yeah.
All right. We started out thinking that colorectal cancer could be the cancer most impacted by diet compared to other cancer types. Lu Wang, the study's lead author and postdoctoral fellow at Friedman School of Nutrition Science and Policy at Tufts, said in a statement, processed meats, most of which fall into the category of ultra-processed foods, are a strong risk factor for colorectal cancer. Ultra-processed foods are also high in added sugars and low in fiber, which contribute to weight gain.
No fiber. There's no fiber in any meat. Okay, let's get that out of the way. That's a little bit of an inaccuracy in the article.
Well, maybe if it was fish sticks, it would
Oh,
have some fiber.
they add, so they process some fiber into it.
Yeah.
They fry some fiber into it, with some bread or something. I don't know, whatever.
So the ultra-processed foods contribute to weight gain and obesity is an established risk factor for colorectal cancer. Maybe that's why the women didn't have an increased
Because the women are
incidence.
trimmer generally. Is that, you think that's true?
They eat less.
Taking care of themselves?
Exercise
Okay.
more. According to the World Health Organization, processed meats such as bacon, ham, and sausage are a group 1 carcinogenic.
Processed red meats, yes.
Carcinogenic.
Yep. And red meat is number 2, by the way.
And
second level.
Red meat such as beef and pork is linked to colorectal, pancreatic, and prostate cancers. But you had a friend who died of pancreatic cancer.
That was linked to pancreatic cancers.
Exactly.
So meat, yeah. I would say also high glycemic index foods are linked to pancreatic cancers as well as animal muscle. Like that's what I want to call it, animal muscle. I don't want to call it meat because people seem to think, oh, fish, that's okay. No, it's animal muscle. You don't eat any animal muscle.
Still meat. This particular study analyzed responses from more than 200,000 participants. 159,907 were women, and
That's a lot of people.
46,341 were men. So there were more women than men in this study.
Because women care more about themselves. Women take care of themselves better.
Yeah, but why wouldn't they do a 51-49?
I don't know. Who knows about these studies? I don't know.
This was done across 3 large prospective studies which assessed dietary intake, were conducted over more than 25 years. Each participant was provided with a food frequency questionnaire every 4 years and asked about the frequency.
How long did the study go?
Of roughly 130 foods. 25 years.
25 years?
It takes a long time.
Well, that's going to be right. Well, so you're right. I mean, a lot of times we don't know the long-term effects of anything, especially pharmaceuticals, because they don't have 25 years to test them. But in something like this is going to be very definitive. I'm glad to see that they're having data like this, because I didn't even know data like this existed.
Yeah, I wish I was in a study like this. Participants' intake of ultra-processed foods was then classified into quintiles, ranging in value from the lowest consumption to the highest. Those in the highest quintile were identified as being at the most risk for developing colorectal cancer. Although there was a clear link identified in men, particularly in cases of colorectal cancer in the distal colon, the study did not find an overall increased risk for women who consumed higher amounts of ultra-processed foods.
Higher amounts.
The analysis revealed differences in the ways that men and women consume ultra-processed foods and the prospective associated cancer risk. Out of the study participants, the research team documented 1,294 cases of colorectal cancer among men and 1,922 cases among women. So how can they say there's no...
Well, there's way more women in the study, that's why.
There's no link.
So the percentage... Well, there is a link, right?
Yeah,
Aren't they saying?
there were...
Oh, for women. There's no difference. I think what they're saying is there's no difference between women who eat more or less meat. Now, it could be because, I don't know, maybe women exercise more, maybe women do other things, like yoga is mainly all women. You know, these types of things that are really more wellness stuff is more women.
But there were almost 160,000 women in the study, and 1,900 of them had colorectal cancer at the end of the study. So how can you say that's not a link?
But and these participants were just eating whatever they wanted. They were just documenting though.
Yeah.
They were just documenting what they, and then the researchers analyzed all this. Okay.
Yeah. The team found the strongest association between colorectal cancer and ultra-processed foods among men came from the meat, poultry, or fish-based ready-to-eat products. These products include some processed meats like sausages, bacon, ham, and fish cakes.
Oh my gosh.
This is consistent with our hypothesis, Wang said. The team also found higher consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages like soda, fruit-based beverages, and sugary dairy-based beverages associated with an increased risk of colorectal cancer in men.
Beverages. So can you read that definition again?
Sugar-sweetened beverages like soda, fruit-based beverages, and sugary dairy.
Fruit-based, that could be fruit juice.
Yeah, and sugar-based dairy beverages like coffee.
All right, well, so the reason why you don't want to avoid those, I've talked about this in my book. I have a book, Live to 150. It's liveto150.org. We talk about you don't want to have much coffee at all. Definitely don't make it a habit, or tea, or these caffeinated, carbonated beverages, or juices, because juice has no fiber in it. That's the thing. You don't absorb it. I can see why the cancer level is going to be higher. We talked about this before with the pancreatic cancer. You got a high glycemic index, very high with fruit juices as compared to eating the fruit itself.
Yeah. So further research will need to determine whether there is a true sex difference in the associations, or if null findings in women in this study were merely due to chance or some other uncontrolled compounding factor.
Here's my take. Women take better care of themselves. So I would expect that in a study like this, that women are going to take better care of themselves in general. So the women that ate the most meat or animal flesh, I know you said fish is meat. Actually, a lot of religions say that fish is not meat. That's why I say the ones who ate the most animal flesh are going to be a substantially lower rate of animal flesh eating than the men who ate the animal flesh. This is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like they mentioned any of that specifically in the article, and they probably didn't separate for that.
No. Although ultra-processed foods are often associated with poor diet quality, there could be factors beyond the poor diet quality of ultra-processed foods that impact the risk of developing colorectal cancer. The potential role of food additives in altering gut
Chemicals,
microbiota, promoting inflammation, and contaminants found during food processing or migrated from food packaging may all promote cancer development.
Yeah, so chemicals, we talk about that in my book. You want to eat organic, you want to eat chemical free, okay? Plus you want to eat lots of fiber so that your gut can help clean that up no matter what you're eating. But you want to eat lots of fiber, which is all plants, whole plants, not juices, because juices have no fiber, and not animal products, because animal products themselves have no fiber, unless you add plants to them.
So even though both of these food choices are bad, one's probably worse than the other. Like eating packaged fish sticks might be worse than eating grass-fed beef. Who knows?
Right.
Wang and Zhang
we don't know.
previously published a study that identified a trend in increased ultra-processed food consumption in the U.S. children and adolescents, underscoring the idea that many different groups of people may be dependent on ultra-processed foods and
Dependent.
in their daily diets. Yeah, like kids.
Like in a food desert, something like that.
Yeah, and kids are fed whatever they're serving at school,
Yeah.
recommended by the USDA.
Yeah, and the vegetables are terrible, the ones that they do have. So yeah, I can see that.
Much of the dependence on these foods can come down to factors like food access and convenience, Zhang said. Chemically processing foods can aid in extending shelf life, but many processed foods are less healthy than unprocessed alternatives. We need to make consumers aware of these risks associated with consuming unhealthy foods in quantity and make the healthier options easier to choose instead.
Yeah, this seems rather definitive. It's hard for me to believe, and I've seen articles that kind of are in states like California, which everyone's leaving California, but saying they're overregulating. But the fact is, if you're talking about schools, right? Mm-hmm. Hospitals, let's say, things like that, how can they serve this stuff to people hearing what you just read in this article? How is that okay? How is that even legal? You know, I mean, you can't serve them cigarettes, right?
Yeah.
But you can serve them those foods.
They're talking about regulations next. The researchers hope this study, among others, will contribute to changes in dietary regulations and recommendations.
Yeah.
Long-term change will require a multi-step approach, Wang said. Researchers continue to examine how nutrition-related policies, dietary recommendations, and recipe and formula changes, coupled with other healthy lifestyle habits, can improve overall health and reduce cancer burden. It will be important for us to continue this study link between cancer and diet, as well as the potential interventions to improve outcomes.
All right, well, it seems rather clear-cut to me. 25-year study, how much more proof do you want or need?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can't even buy a car without airbags or anti-lock brakes off the assembly line anymore, right?
Right.
Why is that? Because they've proven that those things work in helping people and preventing deaths and dismemberments, right? And illness, injuries.
Yeah.
Same thing here, same exact thing. You got the proof. What else do you need? Let us know in the comments what you think you can do, or what do you think you can do, Denise? How do you want to end this?
I'd like to help with the regulation changes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll do what we can. In the meantime, like I said, I got my book. You want to learn more about how to change your habits, because this is really about habit changes. People don't like to change. Even if they hear this news like this, they don't want to change. So go get my book. It's free. liveto150.org. We'll see you in the next video. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you got some value out of it.
Bye.
Bye.